I've been making these videos daily for 18 days now, or this is day 19. And the question is why? And the answer is that I've been wanting to put out consistent content online and create some kind of personal brand for years now. And I've tried a couple times, but mostly I haven't tried. Mostly I've spent a lot of time figuring out what the personal brand will be. In other words, planning it, like going through all the different courses. And I've spent probably close to $20,000 on coaching programs or courses that have to do with building an online business, marketing, social media content, etc. And so I'll do the courses, I'll do all the homework, then I'll spend all the time coming up with the strategy and the plan and the branding plan, the branding strategy, the branding identity, right? All the things. And then at some point I'll be like, actually, this is not the right brand. And then I'll just start all over, right? And go through it all over again, take a new course or coaching program and come up with a whole new brand. And these videos are like, okay, if I just sit down, press record and start talking every morning, at least I'll be putting out consistent content. And also, I will not be pre-planning. So in other words, I sit down, I have maybe an idea. I have maybe the initial idea of what I want to talk about, but then I'll just improvise, just talk off the top of my head. No script, no outline, no nothing. And I don't know that any of these have been particularly good, the videos I've made, and not a ton of people are watching. I think the most views I've got about 60, and most of them are somewhere between 0 and 20 out of the 18 that I've uploaded so far. But the point is that I'm not pre-planning and I'm just putting out content and putting out my thoughts and my ideas and my feelings and my story. And the goal is not necessarily that this will continue exactly as it is. Of course not, because no one's watching. So what's the point? But that's actually a question. What is the point? I dismissed it, but actually there is a point. The point is to actually figure it out while doing it, as opposed to figuring it out first, then doing it. And this is something that I realize now has really held me back and limited me over the course of my life, is that I've tried to figure everything out first, then do it, as opposed to do it and figure it out while I'm doing it. And this is there's like a common saying about, move fast and break things, that kind of thing. I think it's popular in the tech startup world, is put out something quickly and then fix it. And then you see, right, a lot of these tech products are constantly getting updated, right? Because they're putting out stuff that's not perhaps finished yet. And they just keep updating it once they see what doesn't work and they see all the bugs that happen. So I think there's a lot to be learned from that approach. And it's something I'm trying now. One is with these videos. I don't know what, I was spending, like I said, so much time trying to figure out my personal brand. There was a point where I was in the film industry for over 10 years in Los Angeles. Really, I was pursuing it for close to 15 years. Some of it was on the East Coast in New York and Philadelphia. But anyway, I was so focused on the industry and writing scripts and making little movies, and I actually made a feature-length movie as well, that I wasn't building an online brand. And in retrospect, I wish I had been doing this, but regret is regret, past the past. And then after COVID shut down the film industry, I started to try to build a brand around men's coaching, because I've been coaching men as part of a nonprofit for over 10 years. And I thought, okay, and I got the feedback, and I helped a lot of men, and I got the feedback like, hey, you could do this professionally. You're really good at it. And so then I started to build an online personal brand around men's coaching. And I basically put out content consistently for 1 month. And then I got both burned out and discouraged or disillusioned, because wasn't getting any kind of results really in terms of followers, views, clients. And obviously 1 month is not enough time to actually build an online personal brand. Almost no one has any success in their first month. Anyway, but gave up on that. And then I got into the NFT world when that was booming in 2021, beginning of 2022. And that was somewhat successful in the sense that I got clients, I got jobs through an online brand, but there wasn't much about the content. It was more just from the online networking. And there was a lot of online networking going on in Clubhouse, the app Clubhouse, and then Twitter Spaces. So it was more about spending a lot of time in those live audio chats and networking. And so that was somewhat successful in the sense that I got some jobs and I got some contacts and some reputation to a certain degree. But that whole space collapsed basically in 2022. And so I stopped building a brand around that. And then wasn't doing much. And then beginning of this year, 2024, when the AI video generation tools were starting to get, pretty good, or at least as compared to before, and you could actually make cool looking videos, I thought, I want to build my personal brand around that because I have this filmmaking background. I really developed the skills of writing, storytelling, filmmaking, directing. And so I can learn to use the AI tools and then combine those two to make good AI videos, movies, etc. So I started to do that. And so actually, if you look on this channel in the shorts section, you can see 20 something AI shorts that I made over the course of 1 month when I started to focus on that as like my personal brand. And then also got discouraged. And as I'm saying this, I realized again, I gave it 1 month and put a lot of time and made a lot of content in 1 month, right? To make one of those shorts is a day or maybe 6 hours, all when you go through the entire process, like from the very beginning of the idea to actually it's uploaded with, everything, title and everything. So in other words, so putting 20 something together in 1 month, that was like a big focus of my time. That was a lot of work. And again, got burnt out, got discouraged because there wasn't much happening. And even now, as I'm saying this, that's not even really true. If you can look in the short section and look at the videos, you can see all the videos got between 2,000 and 11,000 views, I believe, and over 20 videos, and between 2,000. So like the minimum was 2,000, and most of them were right in between those two numbers. So actually, and it was a brand new channel, right, starting from scratch with no subscribers or no audience. And so actually, that was actually pretty good. Now that I'm saying it, now that I'm doing this little analysis with you guys, that was actually pretty good for the new channel. First month, actually got a lot of views. But at least the story that I got discouraged around was like, okay, right now there is this hook around AI, meaning like there's a novelty, there's a uniqueness to being an AI filmmaker right now, right? There are relatively few people doing it, and there are very few people doing it with the filmmaking background that I have, meaning like it's not about what I've done, but just having those skills. And so creating AI videos with my skill set is very unique. There's a small number of people right now that have extended filmmaking skills and experience that they're applying to making AI generated videos. They exist and they're great, but there's a very small number. So in other words, it is a competitive advantage right now. And that is why I started to focus on that and try to build a personal brand around that. Where I got discouraged was hearing like somebody like a Tim Ferriss, who's a big guru. I don't want to use the word guru, but I don't know, guide, mentor, not direct mentor, like we don't know each other, but through his content, I would consider him a top mentor of mine. And he was talking about that if you're building, a personal brand or any brand, a business, whatever, and you're in a race, like you have to race to compete and to win, it's time sensitive, then you're in the wrong race, right? Like in other words, you shouldn't be in a race against time because it's hard to win those. And it means you don't have a great competitive advantage. And so that influenced me around the AI filmmaking, because right now it's unique, but very soon more and more people will be using AI to make videos and films, and it won't be so unique anymore. It won't be like a hook. In other words, it won't be a personal brand that is new or attractive or different, because it's just like everyone's using the technology. I know a filmmaker who he said he was the first, but at least he was one of the first to sell DVD of his movie online, like direct to consumer. They made a DVD. DVDs existed, but they were the first to sell it online. And because of that, they got a lot of press, and then they got their production company funded because of that, because of the press they got for selling their movie, which was an independent movie. It wasn't like a movie with big stars. It was independent, low budget. But because they sold it through the DVD online, they got the right. But now no one even is selling, barely anyone's buying DVDs at all. But obviously that quickly became the norm, and it wasn't like anything unique. And right. And it's the same thing with AI, I believe, is that right now it's unique, but it won't be for very long. So in other words, to build a personal brand around it, I'm in this race against time. And besides that, people like Tim Ferriss, who I respect, advise against that. It doesn't feel right for me. Like, I don't like rushing. I don't like having to move fast when I do things. I like to move slow and deliberate. I gravitated towards movies, and I made a movie which took years, and I like that. I like moving slow, deliberate, going in depth, creating big projects, big stories, long endeavors, etc. And so the idea of that I got to rush and move fast, like that, this doesn't feel good in my body. I want to work hard and work consistently and continue to produce, but having to be in a rush doesn't feel good to me. And so that's where the AI thing went, and I don't want to give up on it, and I'm like processing this in real time as I'm making this video, that I'd like to keep that on the table and keep making AI stuff, and maybe that will be part of my personal brand. Even right now I still have on my social media bios, Twitter or X and Instagram and whatnot, I do have AI mentioned, and my website right now is raff.ai, raff.ai. So I haven't actually thrown it out, is what I'm saying, but I want to keep it on the table, and I do want to keep making stuff in AI, whether building my brand around AI specifically or just making good, video content, good movies eventually. I'd like to make a full-length movie with AI tools. And bringing us back from that whole little backstory, I guess, was what just happened. I just told you my backstory about this personal brand journey. In other words, I'm doing these videos to figure it out as I'm doing it and see what topics I am gravitating towards and what topics that turn me on. Like when I talk about them, I get more excited, and other ones perhaps less excited. And so basically figuring it out while doing it, as opposed to figuring out first, then doing it, right? And so right now where I'm at, I'm doing this in real time, but I think the topics that I see emerging are like creativity and like pushing people to do something creative, and pushing myself to do something creative. First and foremost, I've mentioned improv a number of times, just talked about the AI videos. And so pushing myself to be doing creative things, whether they're part of a personal brand or for money or not, but doing a creative pursuit, I think is something that I'm finding myself really talking about a lot and feeling strongly about, that I want to get everybody doing some kind of creative pursuit. And I've started a free workshop that I do every week here in Bali in person, that I think I've done 6 or 7 now. Yeah, I think yesterday was number 7. So I've been doing it for 7 weeks. And it's all about getting people to create, right? Whether they're artists, entrepreneurs, content creators, any kind of independent creator of any kind, helping them to get through their blocks and create more, right? So in other words, This is a thing I'm passionate about. I feel connected to. It turns me on. I'm helping other people do it. I'm seeing that I can help other people, right, through this in-person workshop, which is why I did it for free. Because I don't know if I'm actually going to help people, but let me try. And if it's free, some people will show up, and then I can experiment and see if I can help people. And I have, and I've gotten good feedback around that. So that's one. And then another, I think, is people after the age of 40 kind of starting over. The video I mentioned that got the most views, 60 views, was about starting over. It was called Running Away versus Starting Over. What's the difference? And how I first came to Bali from the US at age 40. Like at age 40, I turned 40 as I was traveling to start over. But really for the first couple years, I was still running away. And then I'm now transitioning from running away to starting over. And so that's what that video was about. You can check it out on my channel if you're interested. But the point is that I'm seeing that as potentially a topic or like a pillar almost of a personal brand, of my personal brand potentially, because I think a lot of people do hit 40, the classic midlife crisis. You hit 40 and you're like, what am I doing with my life? So I think that is a common thing, and me going through it and really making a drastic move, like moving from the US to Bali all the way across the world and starting over as far as career, relationship, everything, right? Not having anything carry over. That perhaps is something that I can help other people with as well, and inspire them and help them to also start over at age 40 or around there, middle age, whatever. But I think that perhaps could be another focus of mine in my content and brand. We'll see. Like I said, I'm just developing this in real time. I'm figuring it out in real time. So I'm thinking out loud here, and we'll see where it goes. But that's kind of the one other one. If you're still with me, if you're still watching this, the one other one that is coming up also is AI is an amazing tool. And as I've been talking about, I'm loving it and using it daily. But some people are already, and more people will continue to use it as a replacement, and it will become a replacement. It will replace a lot of jobs. And then also people are using it as a replacement to write whatever they're writing, content or whatever, video, as video gets better, as a replacement, images for sure. And more, a lot of people will be using less of their own creativity and just letting the AI do it. And then the AI will generate a lot of similar types of content, which you can see already. Like I can already tell when I see something that was just copied and pasted from ChatGPT, like I can tell immediately. And sure, as the AI gets better, it will be hard to tell that, but nevertheless, it's going to produce the same kind of content, and it's not going to, we're going to get a glut of mediocre content. And already that it's been happening online with all the content online, and with the way the algorithms reward certain things. And when the algorithms reward certain things, then creators make those certain things for the algorithm, and then that's what dominates. And so then we get this sort of the same kind of content, and this is this glut of mediocre content. And AI, like I said, will just increase that exponentially. And so we have this age of mediocrity in terms of art, content, culture, which then creates mediocre thinking, because our thinking is heavily influenced by our inputs. And I see this age of mediocrity as another thing that I would like to fight against, really, and really try to inspire people to create, to be creative, and to not just let the AI do it for them, but use the AI as a tool to express and enhance their own creativity. So we get really varied and rich content, and then culture, and then thinking. So I see that as another possible area. And I'm going to continue to explore it through these videos and find the way that maybe all of these ideas that I'm just listing come together and into some kind of focused personal brand or content. Pick me back up tomorrow, and let's see where this whole thing goes. Thanks for watching.